Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Well, I'm back here, Joel. It's been a long layoff for me. I don't know the last time I took 10 trading days off from the markets here, so it's going to take me maybe a day or two to get the feel back for this. I have been watching the markets pretty steady over there when I was over in London, and so I do have a little bit of a feel here still, but it's funny. When I left, the market I think was around 1630. And we're at 1635 here this morning, so we're kind of the same place as when I left, but it's been all over the place since I've left.
Yeah, actually, you would have been carting a case of beer over here to
I
me.
know I
There's
got out
still
of that bet. I'm lucky I suckered you out of that bet. I didn't like it, and oh, thanks, Joel. So I don't have to pay you the case of beer because obviously we got down and broke through 1600. So it was a good job. You were right on the call, but I got you out of the bet. I shook you out, Joel.
you,
I
you
shook you
shook
out.
me out. Yeah, the and now last two times it's got down to that area. We've had some really nice rallies, but now this 1635 level, which held up on Friday, it's also the high in today's session. A couple other tops right around that area. Also the 50% retracement of the rebound. That is the area that Ben has to get us through on Wednesday. Four right now, as of right now, there's four tops up to the 1635 area, and that is just a barrier in the market, preventing us from going back up to making new
And we're
highs.
sitting there right now. We have pierced that in the pre-market, got as high as 1640 and a half. So you do have some room up
Wrong
to.
contract, Dennis. You're a
Oh
little
my
rusty here.
goodness!
Yeah, you're
You know I've been
fired.
out of
Jake
it for so
Jake never
long
would have done
here.
that.
I
Jake
can't
never would have
believe.
done
Yeah,
that.
just cancel all that. This is what happens when you're off for this long. I'm looking at the June futures. That's obviously this
They
contract
they
is
go off
rolled
the
here.
board on Friday.
So I can still use that contract though.
Yeah,
So
you can still use
it's
it,
still
just no one's
trading.
going to know what
But
you're
that's not
talking
the one
about.
you're quoting right now. You're quoting the September. So, okay, let's move on to this gold here because you're trying to make it tough on me as I come back. Gold trading down here this morning, down 65 cents on the GLD. Gold futures obviously trading down here as well. You got some of the miners here that are weak too this morning, obviously, with the market rally. So gold kind of doing what it's supposed to do, I guess, showing the weakness when the market rallies.
Real tight ranges over the last couple days. Bunching up at 1394. You had a double top there, and now resistance has moved down to 1392. Finding excellent support in the low 1370 handle. So gold is just probably waiting on see what bends up to on Wednesday as well. But until we can clear 1394, I'm still bearish on gold. On the downside, you got to crack the 4-day low at 1372.20 to get going on that on the downside. But really tight range.
Yeah, getting ready to do something there one way or the other. Netflix in the news here this morning, signing a multi-year programming deal with DreamWorks. DWA is the symbol on DreamWorks. But go to that Netflix chart. I was actually looking at this chart over the weekend, looking at it. Kind of looked like a pretty decent setup here. I messed you up. You're looking at Apple. Netflix here, anyways. Going to that right now. You had a double bottom there, basically from Wednesday and Thursday at 206.87 and 205.75, and then you had a little bit of close strong there on Thursday, and Friday kind of had a tight trading range, but was looking a bit stronger. And then today the stock is popping big time here, up 4% here. 222.60 is where it's trading right now. So getting a good lift off this programming deal with DreamWorks.
Yeah, they sure like it. They took it right up to 223.60 on the initial news spike. Kind of wallowing back here around 222. So I'm using that as minor support. Did have a nice sell-off after making the high of the move at 248.85, and then you had the drop here. Could easily take back 50% of that move and perhaps trade up into the 230 here, but keeping an eye on the pre-market high 223.60. Then after that, you have a triple top between 227.50 and 228. So
Yeah,
that's your next major resistance area for Netflix.
It's one of those deals that could get the stock just started, so I don't think this is going to be one that it fades back and gives it back. I wouldn't be surprised if it showed some continued strength here today. Since we talked about DreamWorks, you might as well talk about it.
Yeah,
DWA.
what's the symbol on that?
DWA. It's not a stock we talk about a lot, but it actually is up near 52-week highs. Is trading up just slightly here this morning. Very
Ooh,
light volume. Obviously, it's a big deal for Netflix there to work with DreamWorks, but at the same time, DreamWorks is getting a little bit of a lift here too. Bid $23 right now, and that actually, if it does open over 23, would push it up to a new 52-week high.
right. You did have a former high at 22.99. You hit 22.95 on Friday, so definitely potential here for a breakout. I know if we look at the charts here, longer term, we can see the stock revisited that
The 23 is
$23
huge.
level. Yeah, 23 is huge. It got up there on early in November last year, and see if we have any other reference points. Well, above 23 here,
Yeah,
things could open
I
up
think it
here.
could. Yeah, if it breaks out over that 23, it's look it's like a classic breakout there. So that's I get interested in that stock if it does actually open over 23 and start to show some strength here today.
Yeah, don't fall in love with it though. If you like go up to 23.10, all of a sudden you're trading back at 22.90. I really need to hold that 23. At least for the first. I like to see stocks hold that. A big number like that for a good 10, 15 minutes, and before you can really feel comfortable with the breakout.
Some of the stocks here in the S&P in the top 10 components, Joel did adjust them on the pre-market info site, but we've got Bank America and JP Morgan are actually members of the top 10 here now. Bank America trading up here this morning. So the financials just shows us how strong the financials have been, that you've got the top 10 S&P components by market cap now creeping up a couple more financials. Bank America, JP Morgan. Let's start with Bank America. It's trading up with fair value up at 13.21 right now. This $13 area has been enormous support for this stock for the last three trading sessions, and it's getting a lift here this morning.
Right, 1334 is what we hit in the pre-market trading, but what our traders need to keep an eye on here is the quadruple top. Last four highs between 1324 and 1328. That's the resistance. Can clear that with some momentum. Could go back up, perhaps test the recent high at 1355. And as well defined as the resistance is, so is the support in this stinking thing. Two lows at 1297 on Wednesday and Thursday, then it hit 1303 yesterday. So tight ranges the last 3 or 4 days, and now Bank America is pressing up against the upper end of that trading
You're
range.
going to love this JP Morgan chart from the last 3 or 4 days because this stock has had virtually identical trading ranges for the last three trading sessions. It's been a long time since I've seen that. If you look back to Wednesday, the low was 52.96, Thursday the low was 52.97, and Friday the low was 52.91. And then if you look at the highs on Thursday, high was 54.10, high 54.24, high 54.13. Channeling stocks.com these 3 days, every time it gets to the 52.90s, they're buying them. Every time it kisses up into the 54s, they're selling them. Here it is this morning, trading up another 60 cents. I mean, resistance pretty well defined here.
Yeah, I was thinking if we could just have gotten a flat open and being able to purchase this thing around 53, it would have really defined risk down to the 52.91. Now that since that's not going to be on the radar with the SPOOs trading up 13 points, you got to look at the upper end. 53.80 is what we hit in the pre-market. You're stepping ahead of that level, ahead of this all important $54 level. Last four highs between 54.05 and 54.24. So keep an eye on that 54.20 area. It's major resistance.
What about, let's move away from the financials and look at the chart of Apple because this has been tight and not participating really this morning too much. It's up $2 here, but it's a stock. It's just kind of doing its own thing. Like even when I was watching it last week, market would be up. Apple was sometimes up, sometimes down. It's kind of got a mind of its own right now, but it is concerning because it just kind of continues to drift down. And I actually went into a store over when I was in London there. I went into, or just looking at the Apple stores, there always used to be like mob scenes, and it actually wasn't as busy as, as they have been. It's still busy, but not like the mob scene that it was last year. So I don't know if, that's just, people aren't as interested in Apple products as they were a year ago. I don't know if that's, maybe, if the stock obviously pricing and had a bad, last 9 months here. So what's your take on the technicals here, Joel? Is this a
I mean,
stock?
Yeah, it's like it's sleeping. It's like
Yes,
it's like not even part of the S&P. I mean, it's the second biggest component. 433.48, high in the pre-market. Uh, Double bottom here, 428.50,
big number.
428.75. You're 4 points away from there, but if you're picking this thing up at 432, you got a 3 or 4 point, stop out area, and you do have some nice potential on the upside. But boy, it just can't find a catalyst to
No,
to shake it out of its doldrums. I mean, obviously the company's buying back the stock and providing support to it, but I don't know. I don't know what is going to shake this thing up.
it's just concerning too that fact that over 50% of the revenues come from the iPhone. Obviously, they've been milking that for the last 2 years. Why they're such a cash cow because of the iPhone. But I think, like we've been saying, they need some type of innovative product. They need something new. They need a new driver. They need that catalyst. And I don't think earnings. It's all about new products and new innovations. And we haven't really seen anything here basically since Steve Jobs has passed. I don't know if they've got
That
something in the works, but it needs something to really get the stock started again. Otherwise, maybe it just continues to drift down in its doldrums. Microsoft, let's look at it. We'll go through a few of the Big Ten here. Microsoft obviously has had a pretty good year. It has pulled back in the last 3 or 4 trading sessions. 3 straight sessions it has been weaker. It's getting a lift here with fair value this morning up at 34.60. What's your take on Mr. Softy?
he came back and filled the gap that it had from the May 24th trading here. I was playing with the weekly puts in this thing last week, the 34.50s, and basically, pulled my hair out because, I mean, it got under 34.50. I thought it would break through the double bottom that it had there and at least get down to the 33.90 level. But, I mean, the thing just goes down. I mean, it just seems like there's just still a lot of buyers out there. A lot of people caught on the short sides. Had a few down days here, so starting to recover. I don't see any major resistance though until you get back up to 35 even. Coming back on the downside, Friday's low was 34 and a quarter. It doesn't feel like you're going to get down there today.
Johnson and Johnson getting a good little lift here this morning, trading up 50 cents at 85.45 right now. Here's a chart I kind of like. I don't know why, but it's had this. Obviously, the dividend stocks, we've been saying that for the last month, have been weak. The ones that have a little higher yield, a little more defensive, have been weak. But it seems to have found a bottom here in the 84. When it gets in the low 84s, seems to get a lift. And here it is now trading above 85 again, and looking like maybe it's thinking about if it could get above this whole 85.50 area.
Yeah.
85.71 too was the high on the 10th. If it could get above that area, and I don't know if it's going to have enough gas to do it today because obviously it's opening up into that resistance. But next few days, if we could get above there, maybe it could start showing some life again.
Yeah, no doubt it's opening up into resistance here. 85.48 Friday's high, 85.50 Wednesday's high. So you're opening into good resistance, and then you get that little 85.71 high here. So I think buying this up 54 cents. I think you might get an opportunity later in the session, perhaps get a pullback. He did have a double close at 84.91. So trading up here, the buyers are probably stepping up to the $85 level, but just a little area of buying the stock off the hop, right into that major resistance.
Move into a couple of the downgrades. Chevron actually getting a downgrade here today at Jefferies. Was trading down, is trading down a couple of cents right now. Obviously, fair
Hey guys,
value
got
would.
to cut it. New
Yep.
York State Empire State Manufacturing Index just came in for June, 7.84 versus expected flat 0.00. That's much higher than the prior reading of minus 1.43. Repeat that. That's came in at 7.84 versus the expected 0.
Bring out the pre-market chart there, Joel. We'll just show. I think it doesn't seem to be doing too much in the
Yeah,
S&P futures. We are drifting up to near the highs though. Trading up here like the 1632 area now. So it's getting a little bit of a lift. Looks like a buck or two off of that 830 number. But again, we're getting up here the 1634, 1635 area, like you cited, and I'm quoting the right contract now in September.
yeah, yeah.
Got some resistance there.
Major resistance up there. It seems like they're spanking the gold a little bit. Nothing new with that though. But gold seems to be selling off on that news as well.
Let's go. We were just going to talk about Chevron getting downgraded at Jefferies here. Stock is trading just above flat because obviously you have fair value pushing the stock price up, but you got the downgrade pushing the stock down, and that's got the stock trading flat here today. Been some good support here, right under the 120 level. We have found a bottom at 119.81 and 119.61 from the 11th and the 12th. Can those days hold?
Yeah, I mean, I don't put a lot of stock in this downgrade here by Jeffries. I mean, stock's had a nice run. I'm still looking at that major support, as you mentioned, 119.61 and 81, and then you got a major resistance going up to the 123 level. So here trading a 120.26. I mean, kind of in no man's land.
Red Hat getting downgraded at Susquehanna RHT. That stock is trading down here 30 cents. It's been an ugly month for Red Hat. That stock hit up of
Oh,
$55 just about a month ago. It's been straight down. It's obviously 10 points off those highs. And obviously Susquehanna not liking it this morning and downgrading it, and that's got the stock under a bit more pressure here. I would keep an eye if you, for whatever reason you get down there to that June 6th low of 44.91. If we start to pierce through that, obviously you start making new lows on the move. That becomes concerning, but that is support until support is broken.
right. It's dipped under 45 twice in like the last 7 or 8 trading sessions. You had the 44.92 low being the low of the move, so that's something you got to keep an eye on. Buyer stepped up on Thursday to 45.08. That was the low. Not quite reaching that in the pre-market, but boy, why couldn't they downgraded it up here? Now it's $10 off its highs. It's kind of tough. Looking at the weeklies here, it's a lot. The lowest the stock has been in quite a while. Looking at the monthlies here, like you said, that's below that $45 level. Don't think you want to be holding on to the stock.
Couple other ones here. PSA, which is a stock we don't talk about a lot. Public storage getting upgraded at Raymond James here. This is another one a little higher yielding. It's been weak as of late, but Raymond James coming out and liking the stock here this morning. It hasn't traded, but it is bid up. 152.59. Best offers up at 160, so it's a real wide spread on these ones. These $150 stocks are difficult to trade, but do you have some levels if some people want to dive in there, Joel?
Let's take a look at the pre-market. Just getting not much activity here trading.
Just
all
bid
in
up.
the issue.
There's no trades this
Yeah,
morning. Just bid up.
I don't know. I mean, this kind of looks like a little bit of a dead cat bounce here off this big decline. No major resistance though until you get up to 154.25. That was yesterday's high. You had another high at 154.77. So those are, like you said, $150 stocks. I don't know how many people are trading that. The trade under 500,000 shares.
Wanted to just look at a couple other setups. This Visa chart here, it's trading up this morning, but this is an interesting chart. If you look at it from the last month, we've had a lot of consolidation, like crazy consolidation, in this whole 180 area. It is trading up $1 here with fair value this morning. I'm looking at my bogey. Well, obviously, you have 3 highs up in that 185 area, basically, or in the 184s. So it's just approaching the 185. That's major resistance up there. That would be, but just looking at the overall pattern here, I don't know if you can get a pattern
You
there.
like this chart? You like
I don't
this
know.
chart?
I just like the consolidation. I like the fact this is what trading's all about. It's about finding different setups, and when you get consolidation, eventually you have a move one way or another. So I think eventually here, if this stock can start to break up above the 183 area and make a run for that
Yeah.
185, then I like it. Right now, it's still just the same thing. It's chopping around and finding resistance in the 182, 183 area, which we're going to open into here again today. Eventually here, and the other thing I like about this chart is the relative strength. Obviously, the market has sold off, quite a bit here if we consider the last month, and Visa has held up pretty well. Mastercard as well has held up pretty decent. It's only 10, 12 bucks off of its all-time high there that we set back there, where the S&P futures, are still off 30, 40 points from the highs. So overall, I like the relative strength of Mastercard and Visa, and it's just interesting to note that they have been holding up well despite the market decline.
Okay, let's just move on. Barron's, comes out over the weekend, and they really had their bullish hat on in a couple different stocks. One of them was AMD. They're talking about them getting into the Main Street server competition, and one of their acquisitions is really starting to pay off for them. They're talking about this stock doubling here. I know a lot of people have been calling for this stock to
It already
double for a
doubled.
long time.
Already
Yeah.
doubled. Where were they in April? The stock doubled
Right.
from 2 to 440 in April. So they
But this,
think it's going to double again.
Yes, yep, they do. And the initial surge here on the Barons just took it up to 420, trading at 416. You can't really sneeze at the volume here. 700,000 shares have traded. So you see if you can get some follow through. Interestingly, 420, you have a double top there from May 20th and May 21st. So if the Barons play is going to, won't double the day, but if it gets to 420, definitely has some real estate on the upside. Barron's also had their bullish hat on Amgen. I know that that's a stock that you like. It's
Yeah, I've liked that one for a while.
trading up in the pre-market. They like everything about that stock. Their products, their production, their pipeline. It's getting a boost in the pre-market. Trading just off the high, made a high at 99.15. So look for some follow through if it can get through that area. And also on the daily chart, we had a few highs around the 99.50 area. So could be coming into some resistance. I think if you can clear this $100 level, it really has some room to run. And then also a stock that it was bullish on. I know it's one of your favorite stocks, Dennis. That's why I had to bring it up.
Big Lots.
Big Lots.
I told you, and I keep saying that I like Big Lots before they reinvented themselves and started selling nicer stuff in the store. So I don't like this company that much, not from but that's just me. So it's my opinion. But obviously, here's a stock that has actually sold off quite a bit. And if you just are trading, ignoring that the fact I don't love the company, 32.47 and 32.50. So 32.50 was the low on the 4th of June there, Joel, and 32.47
Yep.
was the low on the 13th of June. That is as good of a double bottom as you will ever see. Maybe that's what the Barons guys were looking at from a technical perspective. That double bottom is in place, and now that it's getting the lift here this morning, the Bulls will probably try to take command of this if they can. $34 area has shown some resistance in the past, though.
Right. Tradable double bottom here, and actually had another low just on Friday at 32.68, 32.47. So you get some multiple lows in that area. Only 30 cents away from there in the pre-market. Keep an eye on that. Still quite a ways from Friday's high at 33.29, but after that, the issue opens up to the $34 level.
Overall market thoughts here. We're just drifting up to the highs, 2 points off of the high here on the S&P futures. Can we take out that major resistance in the 1635 area here today?
Sure doesn't feel like it, does it? I mean, we're hanging up here. We basically have matched Friday's range already here in the pre-market, so the trading day could be over. The high and low be in, but really keep an eye. 1635. That also marks the 50% retracement of decline that you've had off the high of the move at 79, 1679.75. Down to the 1590.50 low. So got a real good number to focus on today, folks. 1635.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we will be back at you tomorrow.